Hallo zusammen, hello everybody, bienvenue les amis de la Romandie. I switched to English, that's our international hockey language, and maybe we have some participants joining us from outside of hockey, so very welcome. Therefore, I like to introduce myself. I got a few periods of hockey by side. I'm a teacher, that's why I'm so into this new format to develop this. But second, and I like to introduce Luca. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a great honor that a pro league coach joining the youth sport and joining the education program. I think you got a huge impact to youth coaches. Very welcome, and thank you very much already now for joining us.
Buongiorno, thank you, danke Kudu.
Just to have a little intro, like where we are, it's a pre-corona time. Before we were into the business of hockey. Now corona is a special time. You know more than I do what it means to our teamwork. And there is a post-corona coming soon, hopefully. And I like to give you some thoughts on that as well. And of course, the question is webinar just a format during corona time, or can we learn to that for the post-corona time? But the basic or bottom line is how coaches learn, how they grow. And this is a thing we have to focus. This is a slide this was created before corona. And if I see like this lifelong learning, it's still ongoing, and I congratulate all the 50 participants joining us. That's what we're doing now. But maybe this technology thing comes into a new focus. So it's not about coaches' education as well. It's about, do you find your ways with teaching your athletes? It's not about only about statistic and analytics on the field. It's about teaching methods. What about self-motivated? You joined the thing, and I appreciate so much you spend an hour on a weekend for hockey. I appreciate. So we try to get this opportunity to have an independent learning, and this could be the way how we deal even post-corona time. If I show this slide, some participant has already seen it. That's about my goal, how to develop this kind of education with topics coming up to a agenda which can help us additional to the normal physical formats of youth sport and development, bring into topics, and with great guys like Luca, having them on stage for an hour. And maybe we can even put some topics and some speakers up which out of the box can give you some new impacts, some new ideas coming from, I don't know, from other sports, from other hockey sports. That would be the chance we can profit out of this corona time. So for me, just having this statement on my side, post-corona, I like to establish a method mix of education formats. That's why we're learning by doing. Thank you very much already now. If something is not working 100%, we improve, but still I believe in your understanding so far. Get into the topic. I mean, where are we coming from? The big picture, it's gonna be Swiss-made hockey. Of course, with Luca, we have a great guy, a great protagonist of Swiss-made hockey overall. And this is the slides you can find on Swiss-made hockey as well. Define the big picture of education, the areas of how we can develop a player and what we go for in education. And if I just switch to personality, and then we come closer to the topic. Here you got the slide, the light build, the guidelines of how we stand for to grow and to develop personality. Stimulation, the motivation, engage and empower the athlete, very important. Hopefully we focus on that by side the drills, by side the key. The systematic behavior of leadership. We develop, of course, during the process of going through a championship, but we can focus, and we had some great speeches on a pro license, and they say we can build, we can develop by teaching them leadership behavior. Work ethic, I'm sure we're gonna hear about that as well. It's based on work ethic, the competition level. So I'm really anxious or really wonder what Luca brings us up. And if I just put this slide up, it's a talent diagnostic slide, how we try to analyze the athlete, what is the criteria which brings us the best player for the future. And you don't see maybe now in German the expression compete level, but I believe it's about personality, performance, lifestyle, all these things, and it touches the energy, the mental power. So if we combine that, we're into the compete level. So I think this is a great topic, not directly on the field, but so important for us as a coach to know, to grow, and find strategies to teach our athletes. Thank you very much. I go into a first video of Luca's speech. Get this here.
I thought we competed well. I thought we played hard. We fought right till the end. Just came up a couple plays short.
Nick, big change between first period and second period. What was it? Just our attention to detail and our compete level. You know, we started hounding pucks. We started doing the right thing, and that's how it turns for us. And then we gotta smarten up a little bit because our first period wasn't good enough. And then as a result of it, then we found a way to make sure we matched our compete level.
Before I was just wanted to compete.
You know, I think that, you know, to get in the playoffs, you got to compete hard. Like, there's going to be a level of compete that it's expected, and I think we have more compete in us. I didn't think we played as our best that way.
Well, that's the intro. I give the puck to Luca, and pleasure to have you. Luca the maker, yes, wonderful.
Thank you, Kuzu. First thing I wanna thank Swiss Ice Hockey, and especially Marcus for giving me this opportunity this morning. Usually as a coach, we are used to speak to a group, and this morning I find myself speaking to a computer, so something new, a great chance to learn also for me this morning. As we just saw in the video, we hear about speaking about the compete level every interview after any game in any sports actually, and I also had to start thinking a little bit about the compete level, and the first thoughts that came into my mind were following. The compete level is an attitude that can and will affect winning and losing. So it's a little bit a magic word associated to success. But what about the words cooperation and competition? We will also talk about those two things this morning.
Luca, sorry about to interrupt, just short message to everybody. Please feel free, use the button on up right corner of the screen, question answer. Write the question during the presentation. We got time after the presentation maybe to ask individual question to Luca. Sorry about you're up. Thank you.
Thank you. So every season that we start, we have a new group, we have a new team, we have players leaving the team and new players coming in. So a new chemistry, a new compete level chemistry, and we have to find out where are we standing at. And always remember that we have the elements, the players, and we have in them some active substance, so the inborn traits that they bring with them. We see here some characteristics that they can bring with them. And it's our job at the start of every season to find if we have the right formula, what kind of formula we're gonna work with, and at the end, if the team compete level that we have in the new team, is it good? Is it bad? Do we need to work a lot? Do we need to work a little bit less? So this is the first thing we have to do as coaches at the start of the season. Today, this morning, we're gonna take a look at different things, starting with life and hockey, the likeness, and going up until what kind of tools we have at disposal. And always remembering that the goal that we have is to have an efficient and consistent compete level with our team, with our group of players. So starting with myself a little bit as a coach and person, I basically did 3 steps. And the first one was the personal relationship with the world of sports and competition, but also outside of sports, or the normal world. And this is a little bit the values I got from my family, from my parents. And then the next step would be, what is the dream hockey I have in my mind? What kind of hockey I dream of? And the last step is the planification, the road. What kind of decision I had to make, and I'm still making every day as a coach. Going in a little bit in life and hockey, the first topic of this morning, we have to understand that the competition in our player is not the same in all of them. All of them are different or have different compete level in them. Some of them, like we saw, are inborn traits, so they are born with those, but some of them are imposed by life events or the society they grow. We're gonna take a look a little bit later on this. So if we check a little bit the likeness between life and hockey, for example, attacking, in hockey, we want to conquer the next zone. So passing from defensive zone to the neutral zone and then the offensive zone. In life, it would be fighting for a woman. At least most of us, we like to fight for a woman. Hierarchy, for example, another one. I don't want to go over all of them now here, but hierarchy in hockey, we have a coach, we might have a GM. In life, we have the teacher in school, we might have a boss at work, and we have the wife at home, which, although we don't like to admit it, but she is usually the boss in our houses. So again, going back to my experience, for me, the competition, the battle is one of the key points. Battling my health problem, for example, is one of the key. The cooperation, being with a team, being in the family, is one of the key points in my life. And the planification, I really like to plan, to have a plan to follow, and have a planification or a roadmap that I can follow. And then for sure, communication, one of the key points. I always stress myself to find solution. We are all good in seeing the problems, in finding the problems, but one of the key is finding solution, trying to find solution, and not only the problems. Now, life experience, the impact that can have on the compete level. We usually have competition and cooperation. They are opposite, because one of them you compete against somebody and you cooperate with somebody. So our goal should be to mix those two things together to create a great compete level in our group. Here we see a great picture of the last Champions League final. You see a battle in the corner, a one-on-one battle. So it's a competition against each other. And then you see the rest of the team that they are ready to help, so they cooperate with him. And this is exactly what we should do as coaches. Try to mix those two things together, to have compete against and with, to mix it together, to have a great team. And it also works outside the world of hockey, because if we think about life a little bit, once they were able to mix the competition and the cooperation together, they really did some magic things. For example, going up to the moon. Once the competition and the cooperation went together, they were able to reach the moon many years ago. Now, transmitting this a little bit to hockey. I think we all know the light situation in hockey. Green when we have the puck, red when the opponent has the puck, and yellow when it's 50-50, when it's in the middle. So our goal, our focus this morning will be a little bit, or for the next part at least, on the yellow situation, the 50-50 battles. Obviously, thanks to the compete level, we want to win those situations. We want to have the puck more. We want to go in the green part of hockey, so that our chances of winning the game will improve. At the end, ice hockey is a cooperative effort to fight or race for the puck, or conquer, defend, and compress a territory. And we have to understand and make sure we understand this, that it's not about the system, but how intense and especially effective we play the system. There is not a good or a bad system, but it's how effective we are able to play this system. So, focusing on these 50-50 battles in the game, it's one of the key factors to win the hockey game at the end. In a hockey game, we have between 200 and 400 battles per game. If you multiply this for 50 regular season game, which is the amount of games we have in Switzerland, you come to a number of 20,000 battles for every season. Divide this number now by 22 players, you come to a number in between 15-20 battles for every game and every player. And those battles again are face-off, one-on-one, a race for a loose puck, overloading the corners to win the puck back, a hit. So big key factor in those, it's going to be the compete level that we are able to bring in. The complexity of the learning process of this compete level is very simple. We know the 3 steps from our youth sports schooling. So the first step we have to make is bring our player to make some changes. Once we took this step, then we have to adapt, we have to stabilize the changes. And after this, we have to make these changes effective. At the end, all we want to do is find a consistency with these changes to create a competitive advantage for our team. So again, going back to what we said before, we want to mix competition and cooperation, and we create a new word that it's called competition. The planification to work on our compete level with our group, with our team, with our players. Usually, especially in the professional level, but sometimes also in the youth movement, the coaches are only judged by win or losses. But there is a big word in between those two, and it's what we have to focus most. It's the process that brings us there. So the process is made by a pyramid of success, and the first step is learning and playing not to lose. If we stop there at the bottom of our pyramid, there is big chances that we're gonna lose more than we're gonna win. So we want to take the next step in this process, in this planification of the compete level, by growing and playing to improve. And the next step would be then playing and competing to perform. And those two are, for me, the biggest focus that should be in us coaches. They need more engagement from us and from our players, engagement physically and emotionally. But once we are able to focus daily, in every day, on those two steps in the process, then automatically we will take the next step, which is play to win. And automatically the chances of winning are gonna grow. But the main focus for us coaches should be really play to perform and play to improve. We will come back on this also a little bit later. So to sum it up a little bit, let's not be too much focused on the outcome, but let's be focused on the process, so on the performance that we have in games and in practice. There are some researches made on the psychological standpoint of our players, and it was made by giving the athletes 12 questions, a questionnaire with 12 questions, and they were able to sum up the players that we have at disposal, we are working with, in 4 categories. Number 1, in red, the hyper-competitive attitude. This is a player that wants to win at all costs. Their self-confidence, their self-value is based on how much success he has. Then we go to number 2, the self-developmental attitude. Those are players that for them winning is important, but the primary focus and also the self-esteem they have is based on how much they feel they're growing and they are improving. Number 3, in yellow, the anxiety-driven competitors. These guys, I'm sure you know some of them, you see 2 different personality almost in practice and in games. They are stressed in competition. They need a lot of attention from us coaches. They need to talk. They need lots of meetings. Also, they could probably need also some psychological help. And then we have the last one, the 4th one in white. They don't have much interest toward competition. They really like to be part of the team. They really love the social part of the team. So the first one, the hyper-competitive attitude, they are also called winners. Number 2, they are called the performers. Number 3, they are called the perfectionists. And number 4, they are usually called the passengers. I think we all agree that number 1 and 2, they impact the game. Number 1 in red with their grit. They are game changer with their grit. And number 2, they can break the game with their skill. So at any time they can make a play that decides the game for you and for your team. Now, what about number 3 and 1? Are they game changer? We said number 1, yes. Number 3, are they also game changer? In my opinion, yes, but both ways. In a positive way, where they feel good and they are able to keep their anxiety under control, then they will make a play or a great play for you and win the game. But on the other side, they are also able to make a big mistake and make you lose the game. Number 2 and 4 now, they're usually team guys. They are known to put the team or the success of the team in front of their needs. Going back to the start of the season, we have to measure the compete level in our team, in our players. So what do we have at disposal? For sure, we have some external inputs, so scouts, agents. Although the agent usually doesn't say many bad things about his client. We have some former coaches we can talk to see what kind of compete level this new player has inside. Then we have internal inputs. Maybe we use some implication sheets during games. We have the personality profiling. some company offer this now. We have for sure the official inputs, so the statistic of the league we are working in. And then for me, the most important is the subjective input. So the feeling we have as a coach, what we see. The problem is that it's not measurable, but for me, the most important tool is this, because it permits me, gives me the chance to stay myself, to stay, to trust my values and keep my values working with this player. And then, as we already mentioned before, some cultural inputs also, for example, North American players versus European players, or it can be also inside Europe. Scandinavian are different than Swiss player, or Russian are different than Scandinavian. So the cultural inputs will affect the compete level of the player. Once we have this, collect this data and start to individualize the work with our players, with our team. Key points for me as a coach, for us as coaches. As we said, all the players have a different compete level in them. Some of it is innate, some is learned, and some is imposed by the society, the world he lives in. So understand they have different potential. Then, what is the starter? What is the light that starts the fire for them? We have to know that. Is it more physical? Is it more emotional? As we saw before, the typology of player, the 4 psychological phases of the player, and then what kind of talent does he have? Not all of them have the same talent, so understand, discover the talent that he has, and then accept and understand that not all of them have the same hockey IQ on the ice. I want to give you a good example from my team here now. Noele Trisconi, his innate potential is good, his starter motivation is physical, he has to be involved physically to be a good performer, to have a good compete level on the ice. He is an hyper competitive player. You can tell him you're not able to reach the top of the mountains, and he will do everything he can to reach the top of the mountain. His talent is work. It's not his hands, it's not his skills, but it's the work ethic he brings every day. The IQ on ice is average to good, and he needs to be challenged. And the challenge for him is the outcome. Like I said before, tell him you're not able to reach the top of the mountain. So the outcome has to be his challenge. And in my opinion, this type of player, it's necessary for any kind of team, also for the skilled team. And then as a coach, we have to understand that improvement, it's possible. It's possible. Why? Because actually we are born only with 2 fears. The fear of falling down and the fear of loud noises. All the other fears, we learn them. So if we are able to learn fears, we are also able to learn the opposite, which is mental toughness. Now, the impact of the situation on the compete level. In this case, I want to start from the bottom, from the green part, our part, because as coaches, we have to understand that the situation will impact the compete level of my players, and we have to be proactive. We have to anticipate the situation. For example, what kind of challenge are we facing? Is it an exhibition game? It's a playoff game? It's a call-up, so the first game for a player. The challenge will affect the compete level in my players. The location, are we playing on the road? Are we playing at home? Are the fans loud? Are they singing? Are they pushing their team? So the location will affect the compete level of my team. In the game, we have some money time, we have some energy time, we have some tough time. That will affect the compete level. And then the game situation himself, maybe we just face a tough time. We have a power play opportunity. We can turn the momentum. So a big chance, and this situation can affect the compete level of my players. Team ranking, are we over? Are we under expectation? What kind of pressure we have from the fans, from the media, from our club, from our GM, from the committee maybe? So this also will affect the compete level. And last but not least, also the business side. If you check closely, every player that signs a new contract will have a little bit of a down right after, and this down will for sure affect his compete level. So just to sum it up a little bit here, the importance for our coaching staff, and if we have some tools at disposal, the whole staff has to set an example here. And I'm really lucky in Ambri to have a great staff. Everybody understand they have an important role, and everybody has to do his role at his best. And we have to set an example in the compete level for our team, but also in collecting information. Just to give you a quick example, most of the time in the dressing room, you have the therapist, you have the equipment manager. So get them to collect good information for you that you can also use to work on your compete level. So we have to set the example. Practice, for us, a great tool of working the compete level. We really believe in high intensity and low volume. We will come back to this after. As we saw before, we are paid to win hockey games, but the focus should be to find consistency in the performance. So this is our #1 focus all the time. Increase the engagement of us as a staff, but also from our players. So motivate them. As we said before, let's mix competition and cooperation. This will take a lot of energy from us, from our players, because we have to be effective communicators. We have to be good motivators all the time. And then one big point is the planification. Let's plan daily on ice and off ice workouts has to be planned. And this is for me personally. I know not all the coaches are the same, but for me personally, it's really important to be proactive and be energized on the bench. This is the way that I feel I'm most effective. And then again, the biggest tool for us to work and increase the compete level of our team are on ice practice, where we want to push, we want to challenge, we want to teach our players and the team. So again, to sum it up a little bit, the tools we have to increase the compete level. Practices, as we said, daily practice. We want to make them competitive. We want them to be high intensity, and we want to have lots of game situation. We will come back to this later. Then you have the game motivational speech with 2 different keywords. One is physical, one is emotional, and the goal is to bring the players and the team to their optimal zone of performance and of compete level. And then the communication, which is also daily, between players, between staff and players, between the coach and his collaborators. You wanna make everybody feel unique, but at the same time feel united. And don't forget that behind the professional, behind the player, there is always a human being. So try to separate those two different situations. Now going to the practice a little bit more on the field, what we can do. We have some keywords in game we use. We want to play quick, we want to play simple, we want to play intense and aggressive, take away space and time and create it for us. So also in practice, which are usually not over 1 hour, we wanna work on this time and space by using a lot of small games. Different small games. It can be against the boards, it can be in the corner, it can be a little bit bigger, maybe the full length, but not as wide on the rink. And we want to put pressure on the players with different things, maybe with time. So you are allowed to keep the puck only for 2 seconds, and then he has to move. You have to shoot it right away, or shoot it in movement during drills. You have to pass it right away. No stick handling before you pass the puck. And we would try really to challenge every athlete with this, but at the same time challenge the whole group, so the whole team, by using our voice, by using also our body language. So we have to be present with our body language, or by using the whistle. At the end, our goal is to make our players comfortable when they are not comfortable. So spread our comfort zone all the time. And we really focus a lot in head speed, leg speed, and hand speed. In those 3 things, we really want to make our comfort zone a little bit bigger, because we want them to feel comfortable when they are not. Sometimes in practice, we gotta be a little bit old school, so punish the loser or reward the winner. I know that in these days we are really big in rewarding the winner, and which is perfect. But don't forget that some people hate more to lose than they like to win. So sometimes punishing the loser, it's also not a bad idea. Make sure we stop the drill when it's not going good. We correct it. And one of the key points is giving feedback, constant feedback to the individual player or to the team. Doesn't have to be a 5 minutes, 5 minute meeting with the player. Just a quick, simple feedback, quicker, harder, good, bad. It's one of the key points to increase this intensity in practice. In Switzerland, we have around 50 games and around 100 practice during the season. So we practice more than we play. And our goal, that's why we believe in high intensity and low volume practices, is to erase the compete level in the practice, to create a security margin. We wanna practice with a compete level higher than we play the games, because this security margin permits us, when the stress situation comes, to stay to a 100% and not go lower. Sometimes during the season, when we have our up and downs, which are normal, which is normal for every player, for every team, for every human being, you will feel as a coach that you are a little bit under 100%. Maybe even if you worked really well in practice, you created this security margin, you still go a little bit under. So that's when the motivational speech, or the emotional speech, and the motivational video will help you increase again the compete level in your players, in your team, and you will be able to reach 100% again. So going into this motivational speech again, we have to understand we have 2 main drivers to perform. One is the physical level of competition, and the other one is the emotional, which goes a little bit more in cooperation, like we saw before. So touching the physical motivational speech, you have some keywords that you can use. One is grit, aggressive, battles, tenacious, urgent, overskate the opponents. In this case, if you use those words, you're gonna touch a little bit more the physical part. On the other side, the emotional part, you're gonna touch the heart, the spirit, the values of the players. So the words, the key words are gonna be resilient, desperate, identity, ethic, team, family. You will touch again the player deep inside. In the physical motivational speech, you will touch the single player, and then this single player will go and contaminate more and more and more players. On the other side, the emotional speech, you will touch the whole team, the whole group, and if somebody feels outside of the group, automatically he will step in to feel this trust, this share of a goal of the group. The physical speech is oriented on the outcome. You have to win at all costs this battle, this fight. On the other side, the emotional speech is more oriented on the performance, and the win is a consequence of this performance. The physical part has to be cultivated daily. In every time we touch contact with our team, because if not, the motivational speech then will have a really short-term effect. First period, first 10 minutes, first 5 minutes, and then we'll erase. On the other side, the emotional speech will touch inside the player. So you have also to do it on a consistent basis, because on long term, then a good cooperation, as we saw, will increase the chances to win the game. So again, to sum it up, compete and cooperate, try to mix it together as much as you can to create the competition that will increase the chances to win. Now, a little bit of a break with a short video of a motivational speech we had before our first game at the last Spengler Cup in Davos.
Okay, so what we want to do, 3:10 when the game starts, we will also be ready, boys, and we will jump them, we will attack them. We will attack them just like it is in our style. Our fans are ready. We will be also ready. That's 2 hours ago. Let's go, boys. Hurry.
Okay, now the last tool that we have at our disposal, the communication. For the athletes, it has to be a daily mindset, it has to become an habit. It's a fight against a comfortable mental cruise, a comfort zone. As we talked before, we wanna the compete level. It's against an opponent, but it's also with us, with ourselves, our team. We wanna be comfortable when we are uncomfortable. And the players have to be addicted to this. They have to accept the word speed, but mostly over speed, knowing that the perfect execution is not always possible. Most important, they have to accept to hit, but also to get hit at practice. And one of the key points is to never give up. Never give up. You make a mistake, doesn't matter. Second, third, even fourth effort if it's needed. And this, as coaches, we can touch this, and it has to be a law for our players. On the other side, for the coaching staff, we all have to believe in this, and we all have to believe in this way of work. It's really important that we separate, as we said before, the person, the human being, from the players. We want to push the player, but we really like and love the person behind. Also for us, fight against the comfort zone. It's not always easy to find this engagement physically and emotionally, but we have to do it. We have to create practice and drills to have this compete level in practice, and then push the athletes at the right intensity. Sometimes, if it's needed, we have to adapt the planification, and the off-ice part that we do has to go with the ice, has to be planned that we can really increase this compete level on the ice. Now, coming to the end, what are the future perspectives to develop the compete level? Obviously, already today we have, especially in the NHL, the advanced stats, all kind of stats that we can, all kind of numbers that we can use to analyze and work on our compete level. But let's not forget that statistics are like bikinis. They show a lot, but not everything. And sometimes we like to see everything. Then NHL tracking data. Also here, lots of images, lots of numbers that we can use to work and to analyze our compete level. GPS wearable at practice. We usually have them in Europe, especially in soccer, but also in hockey. It's coming in to analyze and work our compete level in practice. Let's not forget to be focused and orientated on the performance and not only on the outcome. So increase that. Individualization workouts, we have those already in hockey, but for sure we can increase this. And then what it's not big out there, you cannot find much on the market, brain researches on the compete level, and some genetics researches to see the work on the compete level. So just a quick take-home message from my side about the compete level. There is no magic. I'm sorry if I didn't give you any magic today. There is no miracle. It's a daily work. It has to be a daily work where you follow your planification. Work with the human material that you have at disposal every season, and be a proactive chemist working with this material that you have. Don't forget that the situation is never stable. So what you have today might not be the same that you have tomorrow. And last but not least, remember that most people under pressure don't rise to the occasion. Very few people do that. Most of us, we usually sink to the level of training. So remember, in practice, during your training, try to create this security margin also with the compete level, to be able, once the pressure situation comes, we will land at least at 100%. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kuzo, again. And now back to you.
Thank you very much, Luca. I'm impressed. Lots of stuff. That's the kind of a book to go through again. So let's see if there is question. I might start with a question here. You said about compete level, it's kind of behavior, like personality skills. Can you read on the athlete, on the behavior of the athlete outside of the ring, even like the relation to the skill or the range of compete level on the ice? Would you say there is a connection? You can read the player?
I would say it can, yeah, it can. For some of us, we compete even when we play cards outside of hockey. We compete to be the best in cooking, and for some others, they really become great competitors, or they have a great compete level once they put the helmet on and they step on the ice. So I think it's different from people to people or from player to player, but for sure, like we said before, we can work on this also outside of hockey. If somebody is a competitor also outside, he can work it basically every day in anything he does.
In your team, did you start directly with a game for introduce the compete level? About the question of practice?
Yes, we try to start every practice with a game. We think it's the best way to start practice, to increase right away the compete level. Obviously, like we said, the players have to be ready when they jump on the ice. So the off-ice part has to be planned, that when they jump on the ice, they are warm, they are ready, not only physically but also mentally, and that way you right away elevate the compete level of the team and of the practice.
Thank you. You mentioned something about the daily planning. Of course, that needs the daily planning, but like even for youth coaches, we emphasize always the long-term plans, the long-term coaching and education strategies. How you deal with that? Okay, as a pro coach is one thing, maybe as a youth coach, what you can recommend between daily work, daily adaptation of the situation for the next game, or keep on a long-term education schedule?
It's really important to have a long-term planification, because only if you have that, then you can carry down to a I don't know, a monthly schedule, and then a daily planification. So the first thing you have to do is have a long-term planification, and then carry down to shorter pieces. If we don't have this, then we'll go one day a little bit left, one day a little bit right, and then maybe we even come back and we found ourselves on the same spot later than we were at the start. So really important, not only in the youth movement, but also when the players become a little bit older, or maybe even professionals, to have also a long-term planification that helps you on your daily work after.
Again, a question about the practice. That's a good one. Like, what you do in practice if you demand 120% like energy and battle level, and they don't do. They just don't do. They're not at your level you expect.
Well, you have different possibilities. No, the first one is obviously being old school and make them skate, but not all the time it works, and it should be only the last ratio or the last chance. For me, I think it's very simple. If you go on a very small space, if you go in the corner with one net and you play one-on-one, you have to increase your battle, because if not, you'll find yourself watching the roof of the arena, because your teammate will put you on your back. So I think the small area games really help us on this. When you feel that the compete level, the focus goes down a little bit, you throw a battle game in your practice, and right away the compete level will increase, because if you don't do that, you will look like a bad player or a weak player.
Okay, thank you. Maybe last question here overall. You mentioned about the engagement and motivation as a key aspect of compete level. Both aspects are driven by ownership, how individuals feel that they own their situation, role, and task in the team. How do you build the ownership among your team members? Kind of a team building.
I think it goes back to consistency. We have to. There is no miracle also there. We have to be consistent with the messages we give to the team and we ask to the team. So try to have not too many things that you want to ask the team, but be consistent in asking them. And the compete level is one of those. The role you ask a player is one of those. And then work it with consistency. And don't think that if you do it once it will work. Keep working on it and work it with consistency.
Well, it's awesome. We could go on, and I appreciate so much, but timing's running out. And first of all, again, I admire your energy bringing it down to this topic and for all the coaches. So to finish, let's give us a chance to explore another thing of summarizing. Here is on the screen like a little game, and I like to invite you, all of you guys, to take the handy out and I think you're gonna get soon to the screen to Kahoot at IT. Kahoot at IT, that will be the thing. You get on the screen a little challenge about some questionnaire. Please get into this game. I do this. If you get the Kahoot.it, you should have the game pin 8334062. Welcome everybody to join. It's just a fun game and gives us some ideas how we could summarize a topic overall. All right, got a lot of participants coming in. I'll wait a few more seconds, and then we start. Just three questions about the topic. I want to see who was focused on that as a fun finishing part of the session. 41 plays, that looks pretty good. More. We got soon into the first question. All right. So everyone in who wants to join. All right. So here we go and start. Get on the panel then the final answer panel on your handy. But I give you 60 seconds. So in a few delay of the actual handy screen, you get the question. After you see the question on the screen, you got plenty of time, about 20, 25 seconds to answer the question through the hand. Good luck, guys. It's the delay of the transmission of the session, but it's coming now. And you see the 4 answers. The right one question. Here we go. We got a lot of good answers. Awesome. So this is the stats, not too serious, but of course we have a great gift for the winner. We're ongoing and going to the next question as you get it soon on the handy screen, and follow up with the next question in a few seconds on the screen of your laptop. Well done. There is some issues about pressuring. Maybe Luca, you can add something. Is pressure need? Maybe we should discuss or go on and more into detail what pressure means. Be hard, raise the level. Is it old-fashioned? Is there any comment on that maybe before we go to next question, or let's face next question now when we see the stats? And this is the last and final question before we conclude the whole webinar session. You get the panel coming soon, the question. All right, that looks awesome. You got the final seconds to answer, and we're through to this hard exams. Here we go. So again, Matt is the winner. We see, and congratulate Matt. Let me speak to you afterwards. I just like to put on screen again, Luca. Is there any comment on pressure? You saw the question. There were kind of confusing people about yeah. Could we? How you describe pressure, and what's your recommendation on that?
I would say it's not always good, but it's also not always bad. So I think it's really important we understand for one thing in which moment of our team we are in. We have to understand which player we are talking to. Some of them handle the pressure better. Some of them really have a tough time handling the pressure. So I wouldn't say it's not good, but I would also not say it's bad. Some of them really need pressure to handle a game or a compete, or they play better when they feel some pressure. But some of them are the opposite. So I don't think it's pressure. It's always good, but it's also not always bad.
Well, thank you. I think that's a good final statement. I took some remark about individualization. That's a great thing on youth development, to handle the player as he is with all the skills. Comes to typological things of how he is, how he act and react to our coaching behavior. And as you said, maybe pressure is the same thing. So thank you very much again. We come to the end, and I finished with kind of these slides. Compete level. It wasn't on the screen of star profile as a diagnostical criteria, but of course it's so important that we can, as a young coach of young players, work on that. And I take with me so many ideas on your speech. High performance lifestyle is maybe the big word, the big expression. We should work on that, because if we get this level, if we raise this level of high performance lifestyle, he is executing more and more hard, and he will improve through this behavior. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you spend the time for hockey over the weekend, and I hope I have you soon for next webinar. See the schedule on our website. Thanks a lot, Luca. Well, I would hire you right away, but you earned a spot in Ambri. Do the best. Good season anyway. But let me know if you got time maybe for another topic. I appreciate everyone. Enjoy weekend. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, guys.